When buying or selling your home, call Leo Bato. He has years of experience in real estate, showing honesty and integrity in every transaction. He's a person you can definitely trust. So book your appointment with Leo Bato today by giving him a call at 818-648-4837 or by visiting him on the web at www.leobato.realtor. This episode is brought to you by ABBA E-Services.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause. Our guest, it's a privilege, of course. Basta, in one of the inspiring people on social media. And he's the founder of Brown Bake, right? And wag na natin patagalin pa. Let's talk about how his journey came to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paco's Place, Jason Lustina.
Thank you for having me, Paco.
Finally! Okay, kami ni Jason, may pusta kami. We have a bet. And I hope I don't fall into this because there's and it's not only me, right, who confuses Jason, Justin, Jason.
Yeah, no, everybody keeps on calling me Justin because they combine my first name and last name together. So it's Jason Lustina, but they call me Justin. Like ever since like grade school till now, yeah, it's always been Justin. I mean, there's a time where I would think like maybe I should change my name, and they would call me my real name, Jason.
Do I in reverse, right?
Yeah.
So sabi ko, if I call him Justin, I have to pay you $100, and I hope it doesn't happen today. Oh my God, here we go.
Well, if that $100, it'll be a donation to SoCal Filipinos. So
we can
there we go. We can do that because we're a nonprofit.
Jason.
It goes to a good cause.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of good cause, SoCal Filipino, whose idea was it?
Actually, it was my idea. It was born during the pandemic. We were stuck at home. And I was just thinking, it'd be a good way for us to connect the community. I really thought it was just going to be me and my friends. I have a good number of Filipino friends. I grew up in Carson. So huge shout out to Carson because big Filipino community there. And we were stuck at home. We didn't have any human interaction. So I was like, what's the best next thing? People connect through social media.
Correct.
So we formed the group in June 18 of 2020. And
wow.
Yeah, not even 2 years.
So it was born on June 18, 2020. And what was the goal?
Really, it was just like connecting the Filipino community. Well, really, I thought it was just going to be me and my friends. So me and my somebody who I met on social media, John Eric Pabalan. I was I was like, we met. We're just like, hey, why don't we start up a new group? Just to connect and we were thinking it was more going to be about more just memes, Filipino memes. So, the comedic route, but it evolved within in the next 2 years. Well, we're not even 2 years, but it evolved into doing more workshops. Like when we recognized Filipino American History Month, that was the birth of our first programming. So we did, we did something on Alibata. We did something on, we did a cooking demo with the authors of the Filipino Instant Pot Cookbook. And then we had Rod, who is, I want to say he's the mayor of Daly City right now, but he's also an educator, and he educated us on Filipino American history. Ooh. And from there, it's just continued. We just continued our program till today.
And you mentioned a while ago it's a 501c3 or a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, we turned it into a nonprofit.
Whose idea was that again?
Actually, I'm going to credit that to John because he's like, it's probably best for us to go into the 501c3, especially since it cost us some money.
I know.
To produce programming, but also, and the additional work that we do behind the scenes because everybody is volunteers that work on SoCal Filipinos.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of John Eric Pabalan, shout out because when Paco's Place was new, Paco's Place was founded before the pandemic.
Oh,
like a few months before the pandemic, and then we continued on during the pandemic, and John Eric would be supporting my personal vlog and Paco's Place, and he was the one who really helped push the channel forward. So shout out.
Yes, John Eric.
Yeah.
He's like He's the man behind the scenes. He doesn't like to be in front of the camera.
Do tell, you know?
So he does all the logistics, all our accounting, anything that's like that we have to deal with behind the scenes. That's him.
Let's talk about SoCal Filipino, because you know, I mean, in every organization there are bad apples, there are trolls, there are people who think that they own the group or the channel or whatever you want to call it. How do you guys deal with those people?
Yeah, no. So we have a team of I want to say about 6 or 7 that really focus on approving posts, approving members, looking at anything that's reported.
Right.
So they make sure that they monitor that. So if there is a troll or if anything's reported, we vet it, and then if we feel like we need to take it down, we take it down. There are certain topics that we don't allow into the group just because we know it creates a divide. So no politics.
Okay.
That's obviously very divisive, especially, you know, depending on your political view. It just creates trouble. Religion is another one.
Yeah.
So those are the main 2 that we really look at. We don't allow bullying or name calling, so those will also automatically be taken down.
Right. Promoting events, that's something that you guys let loose.
Yeah, events, of course, because
memes,
comedic memes. I mean, John Eric, again, he doesn't like saying it, but he's the man behind the memes that we post. They're very relatable. They're funny. I think most recently, because you know it was Lumpia Day, so he
right.
Yeah, so he posted something.
Wasn't it yesterday or today?
It was last Wednesday, and we partnered with Island Pacific and Tonji on this past Saturday in Oxnard. We did a lumpia eating contest.
You know, it's nice that you guys are doing this, because I have 2 friends. Her name's Mick Diaz, and another one is Wendy Lindo, and they have their own podcasts as well. And people actually have asked me, what do I say about podcasts that are Filipino born and bred here in Los Angeles? And I'm like, we should have more like SoCal Filipino. That's a good thing because it benefits everybody in the community. But there are other Filipino groups who some of them contentious, some of them have an agenda. How do you deal with those groups who are more antagonistic as opposed to, come on, let's come together, bond together, and make it a stronger community, like those people?
Yeah, that's really why we wanted SoCal Filipinos, because we wanted a more positive atmosphere. We wanted it to be a place where people feel welcome and safe.
Right.
I know sometimes things do get through the cracks, like which we talked about previously.
Yeah.
As for the other groups, I mean, that's their group. That however they handle it, we don't really interact with any other groups, depending on what it is. Because right now with SoCal Filipinos, it is the main group, but we have now gone into subgroups. Just because there's different communities within SoCal Filipinos that want to feel connected.
Cookie groups.
Well, not cookie groups, but we actually do have one that's specific to the LGBTQIA community now. That's a private group because, again, we want to make sure that they're safe and make sure it's a safe place for them.
Right.
It's named Bahaghari. So it just started not too long ago, and we have several admins on there. One, Carla. Shout out to Carla.
Shout out Carla.
Because she is an amazing person. She is doing great things. She's actually going to the White House, meeting President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris. She was recently featured on Lady Gaga's World Kindness Day video. So she's doing a lot of great things. I'm just happy that she's part of the SoCal Filipinos team.
Why is it called LGBTQIA?
So LGBTQIA, that encompasses, well,
what's the IA?
There's plus. I apologize to the community because I don't know every single letter.
Wait.
Because it's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer. I believe I is intersex.
Okay, what's
and then
A?
I think A might be asexual. I can't remember. I apologize to the community. There's,
you know so people don't know this, and since you mentioned it, I'll share it. Back in 2017. JJ and I and the rest of Intro Voice, we produced the first multi-gender concert.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And I'll share it now, and I'll.
What do you mean by multi-gender?
Everything. Like it's called gay. It's called Girl Voice for Intro Voice. Girl Voice Bakla Tomboy.
That's cool.
And it featured Geneva Cruz, Intro Voice, Joe Awayan, and Ray Kilay. And we had a concert. And it was very much supported by majority of the non-LGBTQ community.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's really great because like what we want to do is we want to be part of the regular community, right? LGBTQIA plus. I mean,
right?
Because a lot of times they feel like we're outcasted, we're separated, but to have a venue where we come out along with the allies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
And mind you, Jason, when we did that, we were like, is the non-LGBTQ community going to support this show? And imagine when they came in, they were like, wow. And it was, and shout out to Ray Kilay and Joe Awayan, because Joe was kind of skeptic of saying bakla tomboy. She wanted it to be at iba pa.
Mm-hmm.
So girl voice at iba pa. But then again, I go, why are we hiding it?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we hiding it? Because we might No. I don't think it's offensive. I think it's, no pun intended, I think it's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great.
Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the community probably appreciate it. I'm not sure if you got any backlash because a lot of times things like that.
No backlash.
No negative.
Actually, now I'm beginning to have backlash. Yes. You know why? They're like, when's the next one? But that was self-funded by Intro Voice.
Oh wow.
We had no sponsors, nothing. I mean, we didn't make any money on it because all the money no sponsors, right? So everyone who bought the ticket, we just paid the artists and the equipment and all that stuff. We'd love to do it again, but and it's a franchise. It doesn't have to be Geneva Cruz. It doesn't have to be Ray Kilay. It doesn't have to be Joe Waya, but it has to be representatives from the multigender community.
Yeah. If you're ready to plan another one, I have a team. I have lots of teams.
Right? But I'm glad you guys are doing something to just let everyone come out and have an equal footing. Let's talk about you growing up. So, growing up, have you always felt different, or did you belong to, this is me. I'm me.
No, growing up, I mean, as any other LGBTQIA person, you always feel different. You feel out of place. You're trying to fit in. You have the bullies and you have the name calling.
Did you come out right away, though?
My coming out story is I really don't have one. So
really,
yeah, it's.
Are we supposed to just keep quiet about it?
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting, I guess you could say, because I don't know if anybody else has had the same story as mine. Well, I just was dating somebody and started bringing them around. So it was, I don't
Is
know.
that supposed to be like something special or like a debut?
Yeah, there's a lot of people have the whole coming out story. I told my mom, I told my dad, and they started crying. And, unfortunately, there's some of the stories where I was thrown out, or I was, had to go to my friend's house, and my parents weren't accepting because of religion, because I don't know, there's all these many factors. But mine was just, I just started bringing it around and everybody was accepting, and there really wasn't any like, I'm gay.
None of that.
Yeah, none of that really. I mean, I should say there was one. I came out to my siblings, but like I'm just thinking about more like my parents. But parents always know. They always know.
Yeah, and they're always loving.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
and very supportive.
Very supportive.
Yeah, not everybody's story is the same, and you don't have always the supportive parents.
Yeah.
Again, like make sure that you have like friends that you could go to just in case.
Yeah.
Or you have like a teacher or somebody that you could go to that could support you should like something bad happen.
So siblings, how many siblings do you have?
One of each, one brother, one sister. I have one sister in Oregon and one brother in San Diego.
Growing up, were you middle child, eldest?
I'm actually the oldest.
Oldest, okay. So you told your brother and your sister, and then that was it. But growing up, was there like, you know what, I'm going to rule the world one day. One day I'll be an influencer. One day I'll be a good entrepreneur. What was your day-to-day like? A kid with a dream. Let's start there. A kid with a dream. Did you see any obstacles in front of you?
I feel like I knew what I needed to do to be successful, or what I thought I needed to do. You know, graduate high school, go to college, find a job.
But did you feel that you had something extra to prove?
No, I didn't.
Amen.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
really think there was anything that I needed to prove. I mean, I was doing what I thought I had to do, and I'm glad that I did those things. Like I went, graduated from Carson High School, and then I went to UC Irvine, and then I went straight into the workforce. So it was everything was kind of laid out for me, which is nice, you could say, because when I went to UC Irvine, graduating, I was interning for a couple organizations. Also for an architecture firm. My what I graduated was with a bachelor's in environmental analysis and design, minored in epidemiology and public health, which is all just big words. I have the paper just that it says. But really, when I was interning, like I said, at a nonprofit, the American Heart Association. Then I was working at a architecture firm that did a lot of things in Orange County. And I just remember the day I walked into the architecture firm, they said, today's your last day. I was like, okay. Next thing I know, a couple hours later, it's like the American Heart Association's like, we'd love to interview you to bring you on full time.
With the AHA?
Yeah, for the American Heart Association. So interviewed, got the job, started.
As what?
As one of their fundraising directors.
What?
Yeah, so I started the Monday after I graduated college. Like the minute I walked that stage, I started my full-time job on that Monday.
How long have you been with how long were you there? Are you still there now?
No, I'm not there now, but I was there for a long time. I was there for 14 years.
Well, I've been with AHA for 12.
Oh, wow. Wait, you work for the Heart Association?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm affiliated. I know I'm affiliated because I do CPR. I teach.
Oh, okay.
So my credentials is from the AHA. So that's why when you said American Heart Association, I was like,
yeah.
Okay, kindred spirits.
So American Heart Association, I got recruited to the American Red Cross.
A competition. No, just kidding.
It is a competition in the CPR world, but there's a lot more work that they do. And then every move I've made, somebody's been seeking me out. Like I have never had to look for a job.
Amen.
So American Heart Association, American Red Cross, then I got recruited to City of Hope, and I got recruited back to the American Red Cross.
Why is it all NPOs?
That's just my background, and
so you're good at doing.
I guess so. If I keep on being sought out, so it's been nice.
Look at this. I'm teary-eyed though because it's just such a blessing just hearing you speak. Okay, so this thing sets you up, but ironically speaking, you being in the NPO, the nonprofit organization environment, you became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
That's not NPO.
No, it was by chance that, I started Brown Bake. It was something that I started just doing in the kitchen, just making like regular cookies and chocolate chip and butterscotch and playing with things. Then I was like, could I put a Filipino spin on this? So that's really, and this was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I was living in Glendale at the time. And I just started playing with ube and buko pandan, and I would post it, and people were like, "Can we buy this? Can I buy this?" I'm like, "No, it's just I'm just making it for fun. This is just something I like to do." And then my one friend who worked with me, Melissa Gordy, related to Barry Gordy. So for those Motown fans out there, she had asked me to if she could order a couple platters for her daughter's birthday. So
this is with the Filipino twist already, or
she's Thai.
Oh, okay.
So she knows the flavors.
Yeah.
So
especially pandan.
Yeah. So she's like, "Could I get some of your waffles to have at my daughter's birthday?" So I made that, and she was my very first customer, and really thanks to her, and just to do it for the Gordy family, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty amazing. And ever since then, that was really how Brown Bake was really born, was from that first order, and people just had continually ordered and just loved the stuff.
Is there a brick and mortar?
There is not. I'm still home based. Have the cottage permit and all that good stuff. So
but how many have you employed, or is it just you one-man band?
I did have somebody, but unfortunately she passed from cancer recently. So right now it's a one-person show.
Made to order.
Yeah, made to order.
This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
Made to order. I always get this question: do I ship? Not yet, because I have this worry about. I want to make sure it's quality and it's fresh.
Right.
I really don't want somebody eating into a stale cookie or if it's too hard.
The name. How'd you come up with that name? That's a very nice brown baked.
Brown baked. Well, really, what people wanted, my friends, like, you need to call it Lusty Sweets. I was like,
Oh yeah,
because it's my last name,
Yeah.
Lustina. I was like, well, that sounds a little too sexual. I don't know if I want to put that out there. So it's a little bit play like brown, right? Brown. That's when you know the cookie is done, right? It's brown.
Brown.
But I'm brown because I'm Filipino.
Right.
And then everything is baked. So thus brown baked is born.
Ang galing, no?
Yeah.
That's very nice. Okay. Baking is different from cooking. With baking, you have to be precise.
Correct. It's a science. It's all about proportions and making sure you have like things like, you know, your baking, if you're using baking powder or baking soda and flour and milk.
Don't wait. Hold on.
stuff.
Slow down. Because I can cook, but I've tried baking. The only thing I could bake is hot fudge brownies. And even then, it's not perfect. You know, those ready mix. And I did not understand I did not understand the importance of the word ready mix until someone said, dude, that ready mix brownie that you have, that is not baking.
Because it's all in one and you just have to add water
Right?
usually. Yeah.
So this whole baking thing, and again, if you're a baker, you know what I'm talking about. But to us non-bakers, I just want to hear it from you because I've heard so many life lessons from baking and this show, which is to inspire and to inform. I've heard analogies that if you can bake, your life journey is actually going to be easy.
Interesting.
Because, and you mentioned the key word. It's, how do you say it? Measured.
Everything's measured, planned out. Yeah, because you have to have the right proportions or it'll come out wrong. So like 1-to-1, 1-to-1. There's all these other.
Look at your sentences. Those are like, right? Like, yeah, if you don't measure right, they will come out wrong. And okay, let's talk about baking. Let's talk about the prep. Let's talk about baking. Give me a product. What product?
Well, I do. My main products, what's most popular is my cookies and my cheesecakes.
Without giving away the recipe, we'll just talk about specific, okay?
Yeah, I'm not giving out any recipes today. So
Okay. Okay, let's cheesecake. So the preparation is what comes out first?
So what I need to do when I prep a cheesecake, I need to make sure that the cream cheese out because I do need to have
Don't
it.
mention.
Oh, I could mention it. They know.
Okay, all
I
right,
mean,
all
you
right.
have to have everything at room temperature practically.
Okay.
So that's your cream cheese, your
Okay,
eggs, your butter.
Let's stop there. Room temperature.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means if you have an AC like this or whatever, do you have to be meticulously particular about the temperature of the room that you're in?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, if I leave the cream cheese out overnight, it's usually fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, cream cheese. Okay.
Cream cheese and your eggs and your butter if you're going to use that.
So they can't come from the fridge.
No.
Ooh.
No, because there's stuff that can happen to the items that you're making. There could be cracking in the cheesecake. There could be some curdling that can happen. There's all these things that can happen if you don't have things at room temperature.
So you can't. Okay. So you have to have patience.
Yeah.
So preparation is the key.
Yeah, scheduling.
Scheduling also.
Yeah, scheduling. Yeah, because a cheesecake, if somebody has orders, I give them a minimum. You have to give me a minimum of 2 days notice. Because like once you have the items out, then you bake it, and then you have to have it chill overnight also.
Oh my God. So what made you, now I understand when someone said you want to go through life successfully, bake. Because that's what they told me. And now I'm beginning to understand it from your perspective because you just don't jump in. There has to be preparation and you have to have purpose, no?
Well, for baking, yeah, you do have you have to have it like
Is it just
structured.
baking?
I think in life, yes, you can have something structured, but you could also you need some spontaneity. You need to have some excitement in your world because otherwise it would be just boring.
Then that would be cooking.
Yeah. I cook too, but I just don't sell it. I that's the one thing I won't do is because I I'm scared. Something's like, okay, this is too salty. You put too much patis in here. I might get my gout. I don't know.
He's a gouter.
Oh, me too. Me too. I have gout.
Dang. Okay. But isn't it ironic? Like for your baking, you're okay to actually present it and put a monetary value on it, and I'm pretty sure you're downplaying the way you cook. I'm pretty sure your friends, if you've tasted Jason's cooking, please put it in the comments below so we'll know what it is. Okay, go.
No, I'm gonna say, but we were talking about everything structured, but that's where the spontaneity comes in, is the creativity, right? So like sometimes I get my inspiration just by going to a Filipino grocery store, just wandering the aisles, or going to a bakery and seeing what products that they have. It's like, how do I turn that into a cookie or a cheesecake?
So here's my question about that. If you go into a bakery and see a pastry, are you able to reverse engineer that in your head?
I'm not reverse engineering. What I'm looking more is for the flavors, right? So like, there was an ice cream. I was like, cashew and langka, does that really go together? So, I went back and, started playing when I had time, because I have so many projects that I work on. And I was like, it actually does. I made the cookie and I, incorporate the cashews. I was like, oh, this actually does work together. And sometimes I actually make the actual dessert, because I wanted to try to make a maja blanca cookie.
Oh.
So I make the dessert first, taste it, see what the flavors are, what are the main components. And in my head, I'm like, okay, so these is what I need to do to make either a cheesecake or a cookie.
Now, are you confident enough with regard to your palate that that, okay, this tastes good, this is not good? And another thing, in your mouth, in your mind, it's not good. So one of your friends picks it up and goes, "This is good." How do you react to those things?
Funny thing is, I don't like sweets.
What the?
I love making it. I love seeing the enjoyment. So what I rely on is other people to actually taste it.
You don't eat?
I'll eat some of it, but usually in a batch. Too bad you live out this way. I'm in the San Fernando Valley. I would be dropping off every day.
I was just in the San Fernando Valley. I could pick it up every day.
Oh, well, I had some calamansi cookies.
Oh, are you serious? Instead of lemon, what are those?
Like lemon bars?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I actually have calamansi bars. At Chef Val's event yesterday, I made calamansi loaves with a calamansi glaze. It was a little sour for me, but people were saying that they liked it, so.
Like that thing, calamansi. How did that idea come to mind?
We see lemon in a lot of desserts.
Yes.
My dad grows calamansi.
Carson!
Yeah, in Carson, he has this big tree. He is my supplier. He brings it by the pailful, or we're Ilocano, the timba. He always brings it, and we juice it. And then I was like, let me figure out like what desserts, like what are popular lemon desserts.
Right, the lemon meringue, ganon, diba?
Yeah, so lemon. Yeah, I actually last week I made a calamansi pie.
Ooh!
Yeah, so that was the first time I ever made it with a graham cracker crust. So it's like different from cheesecake, because there's no cream cheese. So I was like, oh, this actually works. So sometimes I just get in my head. I mean, if nobody's allowed to look at my notes, because I just get ideas and I just write it down. It's like, okay, I need to figure out how to make this.
So that's you on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you live alone?
No, I live with my partner.
Okay. So do you and your partner throw ideas? Is your partner Filipino also?
He is not. He's not Filipino.
Interesting.
Yeah, he is not Filipino, but he does like a lot of the desserts, especially the calamansi ones, because he loves sour. He loves tart. So like for his birthday, he always loves lemon cake.
So you're like, instead of lemon cake, honey, we're having this calamansi
We're gonna have
cake.
calamansi. No, he loves like all my calamansi desserts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, he's non-Filipino. You're putting Filipino twist. It's brown baked. Is there? There's no brick and mortar store. This is all made to order.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a vision to go big and to go multicultural?
Funny you mentioned multicultural, because there was an option for me. There was two events that were asking me to be at. One was at a national chain store, very popular, Home Goods, like they sell all cooking items, and there was a festival. Do I go the Filipino route where I know I can have customers and be sold out, or do I want to spread the awareness of Filipino flavors and food to the general public? Right. So
2 good events, by the way.
Yeah, 2 great events. I actually chose the other one, being at the store, because it's like part of my mission.
Yeah,
is to spread the awareness of Filipino flavors and my twist on it, like in cookies and, you know, the other desserts. I would have loved to be at the other one. I was getting a lot of emails like, we want you there. You could just make it and then we would sell it for you. I was like, there's no way I could do 2 events because that's a lot right now. So, but I actually chose the sort of, because I want to spread the awareness of Filipino food. Because I mean, right now, I mean, this event was 2 or 3 years ago, but I feel like it's just as of recent that Filipino food is now coming to the forefront. People are now being recognized.
Yes.
I mean, for the food that they're making. I mean, people have been nominated for James Beard Award, which is huge. A couple of them are here in Los Angeles or in Southern California. So, you know, that's really what I want to see, is like our food being like, just roll off the top of your tongue. Like, what should we have tonight? People would say, oh, let's get Chinese, let's get Thai. I want Filipino to be a part of that conversation.
Ube is Filipino, right?
It is. It is.
You know, I feel a sense of pride when anybody right now here in SoCal can actually say the word ube.
It's popular. I mean, everybody loves the purple. It's not related. I mean, it is related to taro, but it's sweeter. It's much.
Right.
It's a good intro flavor for desserts. I always think that just because a lot of people know it, they love the color. Everybody's like, it's purple. It's so pretty.
Do you know how ube became ubiquitous with everything out there? Because it used to be just us saying ube, right? It goes out. It's like, oh, you have taro or whatever. Now it's like, taro. it's like ube now, but who actually?
I don't know who's really created the awareness and the craze behind ube. I don't know if it was somebody that just brought it over or people just like started just picking it up. But I just know like
even the way people called it, because us Filipino, we've always called it ube.
Yeah.
But then again, now it's not just us calling it ube. It's everybody out there, even in Alhambra. Where we used to go for this shabu shabu place, I go, do you have your ube ice cream? Oh yeah, we have ube ice cream.
I'm not too sure, but I'm just glad that whoever started that.
Right?
I mean, thank you.
Oh my God. Okay.
But then ube is an intro to our different flavors, which is nice. Because in once they try ube, it's like, okay, ube is Filipino. What other flavors do they have? What other desserts do they have? Because then that could lead them to, you know, like buko pandan or pandan or, you know, anything else. Like our other, like maybe they'll try suman or sapin-sapin or kuchinta, any of those.
Oh my God, yes, I definitely agree. Okay, now the packaging, let's talk packaging. The person assisting you passed away already, right? You don't just bake and put it in a lanera and then just go, oh, there it is. You have packaging.
Yeah, we do. It's brown also.
Who puts it in the box?
I mean, it's all me. Everything's me right now.
I hope, and there's a reason why I'm asking. I'm asking Jason why, because we tend to just open it and not appreciate the packaging. And if it's made by a person or a baker, not a conveyor. Yeah, we have to appreciate the effort that you put into the whole packaging. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I should say we. I do all the baking. I do all the packaging. I put everything into the boxes. I mean, shout out to all the other vendors that are doing that themselves. I mean, I know for the pandemic, there were so many vendors that came out and started creating their own brands. So yes. I know that was a way for them to survive, which is nice. I mean, I'm not one that was born from the pandemic. I've been doing this before the pandemic. So I know the hard work it takes to even put yourself out there. Right. That's always the hardest step, is to put yourself out there. I mean, it took me like maybe a year or 2 years. Then I was like, okay, fine. I'll just go ahead and take that order. I know that's always the hardest step because you're worried about what people are going to say. Yeah. Like if they like it, they don't, you know, are they going to love this? But once you find your base, they'll continually, they will go and like follow you. They will promote you. People always talk about you like, hey, I heard about you. But the one thing that was funny about Brown Bake is they don't know I'm the face behind it.
Really?
Because if you look at Instagram, I rarely post my photo on the Brown Bake page because I want it more about the food and not me. And that's the same thing with SoCal Filipinos, which is why I never promote myself. It's about the community, not me.
I understand, but sometimes one has to lead, right?
But you can lead from behind.
Yes. But then again, when I first met you, and it was so nice, the meeting that we had was virtual.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this guy. because of the insights that you give. Not only that, the way you deliver your insights, that needs to be amplified even more. So, okay, here now. Now, you're opinionated. At the same time, when you give your opinion out, you're not condescending. You're not apologetic either.
That's the first time I've heard that, but sure. Yeah, thank you.
It's true though. I mean, you'll say it as you see it is, and when we had that thing with Chef Val, I was like, and that's what made me say I like this guy, because you will speak your mind without any apologies to whoever is there.
Yeah. A lot of times when I'm in conversations, like the one with Chef Al, which was, a great topic for us to talk about.
Yeah.
It's an important topic just because that also created divisiveness in our community.
Yeah.
I usually take in like what everybody else is saying. It's like I usually formulate. So I'm more of the listener. And then when I feel like I need to interject or say my opinion, then I will.
Okay. When you say more of the listener, it's more like you'll get everything in, and then you'll process everything before you go out.
Yeah.
And speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's like your baker's template.
Yeah. Or it's a computer and everything.
Yeah, because you're prepping it in your head, right?
Yeah.
You got all the ingredients.
Yeah.
Let me line them up first. Okay, let me bake it in my mind.
And put it in 350 for 12 minutes and it'll be ready and baked.
Diba? And maybe that's what it is. Now, with regard to the community, your help and influence has inspired a lot of people, myself included. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
Because of the vibe. Now, SoCal Filipino has gone into different macros already, diba? Different groups. Then again, there is Brown Baked. And it's so nice that you're not using the platform to go, you know what? Since I'm one of the founders of SoCal Filipino, I'm going to use this to champion Brown Bake. You're not doing that. That's where I see you leading from behind as well, right? But where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing in terms of inspiring other people?
I mean, obviously being on this, hopefully people will get inspired with work and being part of being either an entrepreneur or being as part of the community. For Brown Baked, I've always had this dream that I want somebody to hire me as a creative director.
Wow.
So we're putting this out in the universe right now to create new desserts and, buy my recipes and hire me on. That way we could continually make these new creations that are in my head.
This episode is brought to you by ABA E-Services.
As for SoCal Filipinos, I see it as continually being a community program. Now that we're able to go in person, we want to we want to start doing our live events and having these panels. A huge dream for me, I'm also putting these out there, is to have PhilCon.
Explain PhilCon.
So I want a Filipino American convention where we have different types of tracks where they're and different types of workshops. So whether there's one about mental health, there's one about cooking, there's one about if we want to talk about podcasting, music, entertainment, any issues that is affecting the Filipino American community. You pick whichever one. Obviously, I would love it to be a 2-day. Maybe we'll start with 1 day. But that's my dream for SoCal Filipinos, to be known to have PhilCon.
I want to be part of that.
Let me find some sponsors so we could start planning.
I'll help you find some sponsors.
So I mean, that's really I've talked about this, and I spoke because I'm also on the board for SIPA. I'm not sure if you're familiar with SIPA.
I am familiar with SIPA. And to everybody not familiar with SIPA, that's where the Black Eyed Peas started their gig. Intro Voice performed at SIPA already.
We're celebrating our 50th year. This
Where's
year.
the invite?
I am the chair of the gala. You will get the invitation.
There you go.
It'll be on October 15th.
We'll be there.
So stay tuned. We are looking for sponsors for that. But I spoke I said this idea to Kimi Maniquez, who's the current executive director. She's, we'll support you on that, because I also want like a whole like vendor area where I could see like supporting our small Filipino businesses. Have that be the convention area. We have the workshops, and then a whole row. I want like whatever Filipino nonprofit there, so that they can promote the work that they're doing free to them.
Grabe,
because I know that it's hard for them to raise money, and any extra expenses, it's a little bit tough. So it's like I would love to have even like the whole nonprofit section be free to them. So it's just a lot of ideas for that whole PhilCon. I would love to see that actually come to fruition.
Diba?
Yeah,
okay, now so you have PhilCon, you're the chairman of SIPA, you have all these things going.
Gala co-chair. I just want to.
Okay, Gala co-chair. Okay.
Yeah.
But you still have the power to invite Intro Voice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll put that in.
Okay. Do you feel like you've tap boarded the goals and dreams that you've aspired to achieve, or do you think this is just the beginning of a bigger playing field?
I think I'm kind of entering into a new phase of my life. With the formation of SoCal Filipinos, which is quite interesting, that I've gotten so many more opportunities.
How strong is SoCal Filipinos?
53,000.
Oh my goodness.
Under 2 years. Can you believe that? 53,000. That's just crazy. I mean, we were like...
And most of the members are behaved, huh?
Most of them are. Some are not.
I know.
Some are not. It's okay. That's why we have my team that makes sure that they moderate the conversation that's happening there.
Okay, here. Okay, so next level. I didn't mean to cut you, but okay, you're reaching the next level.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a new phase of my career, new phase of my life, just with the work that's being done, especially for like the Filipino community.
Right.
Because I mean, really, like before this, I was just really focused on career, not really like community work. And now I'm doing like being an entrepreneur, and now a community leader, right? With SoCal Filipinos, being
an influencer.
I don't like to use the word.
Why not? Why not?
I don't think I am an influencer. I think. I think I would prefer like community organizer maybe rather than influencer. I don't think I have like the personal influence, but I see what is needed within the community and I gear it or like steer it.
Are you gonna go into politics?
I don't have
again, your body says something else. Huh?
I have never worked in politics. I have never had any experience. I'd be open to it.
There you go. See, your body. Now that you mentioned body language, I'm like, no. He means yes.
I'd be open to it if an opportunity was to come.
Right. Okay. So, community leader, community organizer, new chapter in your life. You are aware that you are partly responsible for all the 53,000 plus and growing members of the SoCal Filipinos community, right?
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility in keeping them aware. Whether if it's issues that's affecting the Filipino community, or if it's new restaurants or food, or even artists. I mean, any films that are coming out, we want to make sure that they know about that. And in a couple of weeks on April 10th, we're actually going to be interviewing the team behind that Fox hit TV show, The Cleaning Lady. So,
yeah.
So we have Miranda Kwok, and we have a couple of stars like Martha Milan, who's a co-star who plays Fiona, and Ruby Ibarra will be on.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have a couple of the writers. So they have a good number of Filipinos that are working on that show, and we need to have pride in that, especially with that show being a hit show and having Filipino representation.
Yes.
Because I went to the preview, and I was there with my friend Sweeney, and we're like, did they just speak in Tagalog?
Right.
Were they speaking Tagalog? And we're like, oh my gosh, they're speaking Tagalog. Like our eyes open. It's like, wow, that's amazing.
No Way Home, like Spider-Man No Way Home. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anytime we see something like that, we need to make sure that like we have more people watching it. So they're making sure, like, especially with this TV show, we want it to pick up for a second season.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Your own app. Do you ever think about having the SoCal Filipinos app instead of just relying on Facebook?
That was something that John Eric and I talked about in the beginning stages.
What happened?
Funding, because it does take a lot of money. Funding is always an issue. So if you want to donate, we are a 501c3. It's tax deductible if you're here in the United States.
Right. What if someone donates their time? What if we have a friend who's a systems engineer who does apps and decide to donate their time in creating the app and be compensated with a gift receipt of the value of their...
Oh, we would do that. Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, we would love to see like SoCal Filipinos. And then the first idea was we wanted to be a place for them to find all the Filipino-owned businesses.
Right.
Right? Like if you're looking for because if you go in the group, you're like, someone's either looking for a barong or they need travel insurance.
It's like our own marketplace.
Yeah. So that's really like what they're asking about. And then have a place like if they want to have like a chat room and like chat with our, but you know, I know there's those other apps too, but I'd love it to be an all-in-one.
Yeah, not only that, how about more of like you have your show and everybody has their shows. Like there's a channel portion of it.
Yeah.
Diba?
And you could post
Paco's place there.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, it's like for me, this is an opportunity to really sit down with you and this is the first time I've had someone from who has organized and has achieved what you guys have achieved, and I'm here face to face with you. I don't have to type in my my sentiments, and I'm like, I'm looking at the group. I'm going, imagine if Zuckerberg decides to stop Facebook. What's gonna happen to?
Yeah, that's true. Which we don't think it's gonna happen, but which is why we're on several platforms. So that way,
what other platforms?
So SoCal Filipinos is on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we are on Kumu, but we're still trying to figure that one out.
You know what you didn't mention, and I think we've met in this. What was that app that that we had to talk on, that we had to speak, and everybody?
Clubhouse.
We're
on Clubhouse.
See, but is how's that? I mean, I haven't been on Clubhouse.
It was great during the pandemic because nobody was like meeting anybody, so you know, I've met some friends off of there. As of right now, like the main Filipino groups, the programming hasn't been kept alive. So that one's kind of not been as used as much.
Right.
We did have some programming on there. We have now a group that's doing Philippine X and Wellness. They were born from Clubhouse and now they're taking their shows live. But we need to make sure that we're not just focused on one platform.
Yeah.
Like you said, we need to make sure that we're covering all platforms just in case something does die.
Right. Something happens. But then again, the community can just have its own basic core where everybody can communicate, exchange ideas, or barter or whatever. Yeah. So when we go out, it's like, okay, I'm part of this community. Like if there's something.
And they can schedule events and meetups and...
Not only that, oh my God, now it came to me that if there's a concert, and you're part of SoCal Filipino, you can just show your QR code and
be a ticket. That's gonna be a lot. I think we should start with basics, then we could eventually build on what the app could look like.
It's very promising, especially with 53,000 people and counting.
And still growing. I mean, we've had, for some reason, in the past several months, we've seen such a huge jump. I mean, because there was other groups that were much bigger. I was like, we'll never reach them. But we've surpassed it now. We can say we're the fastest growing and largest Filipino group on Facebook geared to Filipinos in Southern California.
You know what? You were directly responsible for this. You have your own business. Your life is where you want it to be, yeah?
Yeah. There's more. There's always more.
I want to hear what more?
I mean, there's always more that you want to do. I mean, we talked about some of my goals that I would love to see, and I'd love to see have that come to fruition. Then you continue with new goals. It never stops.
So you're always moving forward.
You have to. You can't be complacent.
Words of wisdom from Jason Lustina to people who are kind of iffy and don't know what they want to do in life. What would you suggest they do? Advice, please.
If they don't know what to do, and if they don't know what to do or they don't know what their interests are, try everything. Try what you think you might like, because you'll not know if you like it or not.
Do you ever get angry?
I do. Once in a while. Not often. It's not often, but I am in the Libra Scorpio cusp. So if I do get angry, it's really bad. That stinger comes up. But otherwise, I'm really level.
So I have this question. Like when we first met, we were talking about a topic, and it was kind of sensitive. But then again, it was more geared toward us as a race.
Correct.
We were.
I like to use the word ethnicity because there's no such thing as race.
Explain that to me before we go into the
because
topic.
why is there a race? Is there somebody that wins first place? Is there somebody that wins second place? No, I like to use the word ethnicity versus race. That's just for me personally.
The human race. Okay. Okay. So ethnicity, like it was geared toward Filipino, our ethnicity, right? And,
Correct.
And so Chef Valerie, she's the executive chef of Yamashiro.
Yes.
Shout out, Chef Val.
We're here because of you, Chef Val.
I mean, she introduced you and me, right?
She brought. Well, it's funny because when we were going live, the next thing I know, I see the countdown. I was like, "Oh, I'm coming on."
Me too.
I was like, "Okay, hi everybody." I'm not dressed. I'm not ready for camera, but here we are on Chef Val's many followers on Instagram Live.
Yes, very influential also.
Oh, absolutely. Love her. Happy birthday again.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And so, what was so weird was because when she mentioned, when someone mentioned that Yamashiro, the restaurant, it's an iconic restaurant in Hollywood.
Correct.
Was becoming too Filipino.
Yes.
And we were talking about that being too Filipino. What was going through your head?
Well, one, to say that a certain place is becoming too Filipino, what exactly does that mean?
Exactly.
Is there such thing as being too Filipino? Am I too Filipino? Are you too Filipino? Are you too Filipino because you speak Tagalog and you're from the Philippines?
So it means hospitals are too Filipino as well?
I know. That just fathoms me. It's maybe, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why this person would say that. It's just unfortunate that they would picture as seeing a place to be too Filipino, right? We want to make sure that we are recognized, we are represented. We want people to recognize us. For us to say that something is too Filipino, it's like we're trying to take everybody a step back.
Yeah.
And
wait. Or maybe.
Well, there's always this trigger word or trigger phrase, crab mentality.
Yeah.
Because it's just unfortunate that comment has made that.
How about this? Let's play devil's advocate. Was the comment made as a compliment or as a derogatory remark?
I wasn't part of the conversation of when it was said, but I felt that it was probably derogatory, actually. I don't know. It's just interesting that somebody would say say it's too Filipino. I mean, Seafood City, is that too Filipino? Island Pacific, is that too Filipino because they sell all Filipino
or
food? Maybe
the name is Japanese and it's being ran in the kitchen by a Filipino.
From what I think it is, I think that they're saying that there's too many clientele that's going.
Come on, now
there's too many clientele that is Filipino that's going there.
Now I'm triggered.
And the people that are supporting and performing and but it's a huge name, Yamashiro. We have the first female Filipino executive chef at Yamashiro. Yep. Because she's there, we want to support her. Because that's a part of what we need to do to making sure that we are getting recognized.
How about this?
As Filipinos.
And maybe you know this better than I do, but she did not get the gig because she was Filipino. She got the gig because she was good.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Fit for the gig itself. And she happened to be Filipino, and Filipinos happened to be super proud of her, Chef Val. And so you, me, and everybody else, we go there because of that Filipino pride. Is that bad?
Not at all, actually. I mean, she got promoted because of her skill set.
That's right, yeah.
Her expertise.
Yes.
Filipino just happened to come along with it. And we need to be proud of that, and we need to support all business, whether it's not Chef Val, but let's also support Jennifer Barr, who's nominated for James Beard. So it's we got to go to all these places and support them. I still can't fathom why somebody would say it's too Filipino.
Is Journey too Filipino? But I digress. But the same point, right?
I could see that because now the audience is more Filipino. This is getting too Filipino. It sounds like there's a little bit more intrinsic.
Yeah.
Self-hatred.
Yeah, because you would understand if it came from a different ethnicity, then that's normal. I mean,
but you never hear that from
you don't. They just suck it in.
Yeah,
suck it up.
You don't hear this is too Thai, this is too Chinese, this is too Korean.
Actually, that's good, right? This is too Thai. Okay, how about this? I go to I go to this nice ramen place.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like authentic ramen from Japan. Guess what? The chef is Korean.
And he was trained in Japan.
Trained in Japan. Now, is that place too Korean? Because there are a lot of Koreans going to that Japanese ramen place.
No, they see somebody that looks like them that's succeeding, and we want to support them. Point blank, period. That's it.
Isn't that supposed to be how it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why there needs to be any negative connotation to anybody that's succeeding. Unfortunately, I don't want to say that this is Filipino, because I'm sure it happens in all cultures, in all of the ethnicities. When somebody succeeds, there's always that one crowd that wants to pull that person down.
Right. And you know what? What's sad? How do I say this without sounding like, I don't want to sound needy, but let me see. Okay, here, I'm ready. I love Chef Val. I know she's very busy. I've been to Yamashiro many, many times.
You and I both.
But I don't tell her staff that I'm there.
Oh, good. I mean, because you're there to enjoy.
Not only that, my being there should not burden her from doing her thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I totally, I'm sure there's a lot of celebrities that do that they go there just because they want to go eat and don't want to have any, like you said, a burden on like the staff there. Like, okay, this is my special guest. There's this, there's that. No, I see that. I see that happening with you and, many other celebrities that do that.
Because I see there are, and she's the type of person who will really, because I experienced that with some people. I'm not going to mention names, but can you tell Chef Val that blah, blah, blah is here? And I happen to be with some of those people, right? And I'm like, aren't we just going to let her do her thing? And then later on, here she comes out. She's like, she'll because that's the Filipino hospitality right there.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not going to turn her back on you.
No, she wants to make sure that everybody is happy, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know she goes out of her way to making sure that not just her guests or her friends, but everybody that goes has a great experience at Yamashiro. I mean, really, being the executive chef, it goes from the top and all the way down to her staff and then down to the guests.
How about this? She watches Filipino concerts.
I've seen videos of her.
During her days off, oh, she's there. She's supporting the community. And this is why when you heard something like that, when I heard something like that, it was more like, wait a minute. Why are we, here's a person and she might have done it for herself or for her country or for her family even. But we're reaping the residual benefit of her accomplishments.
Yeah. And then really, I hope that also inspires other people to see her as being executive chef.
Yeah.
The little babies.
Yes.
Which I will never have. That want to become chefs and they could see somebody that looks like them that they could also accomplish.
Yes.
It. Which is why we're all always like here, making sure that our voices are being heard. That way we hope to inspire the younger generation or even the upcoming generation.
It's nice, to see Chef Val. And if I may, I hope she's watching. And Chef Val, if you are watching, shout out. Because
I'll text her to make sure that she watches.
Because what's so nice about her, when she watches a Filipino concert, she fan modes. And this is a person who's rubbed elbows with, bigger name celebrities. And they request her out of the kitchen to have pictures taken with her and all that. But here she is. In Little Noipits, just having her own little sweet time, right? With her video phone, and then just dancing, just feeling it, and I'm like, wow, that's my celebrity chef.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I've seen her at a concert. The night of Pinoy-tainment that happened last year. Yeah, I was there, and she was front row dancing away to almost every song.
And you know what? Yes or no? She doesn't thump her chest and say, "Hey, I'm Chef Val."
No, not at all.
She's there incognito.
She's very humble.
Yes.
Very sweet. I like to call her Manang because we're both Ilocano. She is. What's there to say about Chef Val?
right? Oh my God. Anyway, shout outs to SoCal Filipinos members. Go.
Yeah, no, thank you to all of the SoCal Filipinos members that has been part of the group since the beginning. When we started off, we were like 50 members and they were all my friends, and somehow word of mouth happens, 53,000, and we're still growing. It's all because of you. That's that we have SoCal Filipinos. We want to make sure that we're still continuing to do our programming and making sure that we're connecting to each other. If there's anything more that I could do, let me know. I'm always open.
Well, you have your own Instagram, personal Instagram? No.
I do.
Personal Facebook?
I do.
Personal Twitter?
Yes.
Okay, we'll post everything on the description so that way you can contact Jason if you need his advice, when you need his advice, and I'm sure you will. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you so much. Please don't forget to follow, like, subscribe the channel. Also, I'll post the link for SoCal Filipinos and all their other platforms so that way you pick and choose where you want to go.